So, the Night Elf campaign. I'm not going into their backstory because this video will be twice as long if I do. The short version is, they fought against the Legion, drove them back, and now they are nearly immortal and gain power from the World Tree. It's here we meet Tyrande Whisperwind, our primary viewpoint character for the Night Elf campaign. She's been the guardian and leader of the Night Elves for almost 10,000 years since the demons last invaded. And of course, because she's an elf, she doesn't look like she's more than 25 years old. They've been dealing with the consequences of Cenarius' death. It's shaken the Night Elf people, and now the invaders seem to be pressing further and further into the Elvish lands. We can also see that the orcs and humans are still managing to work together in spite of racial tensions. So before we commit genocide, we help a group of furbogs evacuate from the area. And we commence with the killing. Unfortunately, this plays into exactly what the Legion wanted, since they now begin slaughtering humans, orcs, and night elves simultaneously. It's like rain on your wedding day, if it was raining fire. After a chase through the wood, Archimonde corners Tyrande and insists that he will murder her and everyone else in this world for the Legion. But Tyrande disappears in plain sight, and that's when Archimonde reveals that he's clearly not studied the Evil Villain Handbook. So Tyrande must rally together the remaining Night Elves, including the Druids who have been asleep for over 10,000 years. This level, in my opinion, is a brilliant example of what they did wrong with the Undead campaign. You have to move from point A to point B while using the Night Elf mechanic of shadow melding to avoid being detected and fighting fights you're not ready for. As we move through the forest, we end up making a new friend. Hey little guy, who's the cutest little crossover ever? You wanna come with us? Aw, who's the cutest little Hydralisk? It's you, yes it is! Eventually, we meet up with the rest of the Night Elves and set out on our quest to go rescue the rest of the Druids who have been sleeping. And to start, we'll have to wake Furion Storm Rage. We also have to leave our little Hydralisk behind. I named him Spot. I'm not crying, you're crying! So it was supposed to be Cenarius' job to wake the Druids if the demons ever returned. Yeah, can't really do that when you're dead, so we have to retrieve his horn before the undead scourge reaches the barrow of Furion Storm Rage and kill him while he's still asleep, because then he's not much good to anyone. Now yes, I recognize this is another point A to point B mission, much like Silvermoon. However, this one has the added time crunch mechanic, which is ideally designed not to drag on too long. A more concise numerical value would have been more useful, I think, but I suspect with the new version of Warcraft coming soon, that's probably going to be one of the changes they implement. But we fight our way past the Guardians, and we sound the horn of Cenarius, waking Furion Storm Rage from his long slumber. So he's awake now, and it seems he was not terribly thrilled with being woken up early.
Only you can prevent being smacked by forest dryads.
So the two of them reconnect, since Furion and Tyrande are actually husband and wife. She's been guarding him while he and the rest of the Druids have been asleep for 10,000 years, gathering their strength and mastering their talents for when it's most needed. Like the Druids of the Talon, who have mastery over the winds and transforming into birds. We also see how those 10,000 years have changed the two. While Furion is willing to maybe work with the humans and orcs since they seem to have a common enemy, Tyrande on the other hand sees them as less than animals. This is also a really nice level to show off the special abilities of the Night Elf buildings, that being able to uproot themselves and move across the map. It's also clear that the Legion is engaging in magical warfare, corrupting the very land and poisoning the minds of the beasts that live there, like the furbogs we rescued, who have now been driven mad and must be put down. As well as turning local wild spirits into monsters we have to slay, and even waking the dead from their graves. But it'll all soon be worth it, since we know there's a Night Elf encampment nearby. But as we reach it, we discover that they too have been corrupted by the Legion, transforming the Night Elves into satyrs, who are utterly loyal to the Legion, and we must fight our way past if we wish to reach the Druids of the Talon. But eventually we are successful, and we've gained new allies. And hey, they've got feathers. Cool. So now it's time for us to catch up with the Druids of the Claw, who have been living in vast underground caves for millennia. But even in the vast halls under the earth, the demon's corruption has begun to infect the local creatures, transforming cave spiders into vicious monsters out of nightmares. After sights like those, anyone might be feeling a little distressed.
Don't worry about me, Taronda. I'm going to go over here and just use the latrine. Wait, what is that? Why is the ground shaking? That is not good. What's going on? Oh god! Oh god, what is that? What is that? Help! Help! I need help!
We also find a group of furbogs down here who are in need of some assistance.
Taronda, my love, maybe given our track record, we should just leave them to their own affairs.
At a fateful fork in the road, though, the path splits, and we find a great door that seems to have some significance. Furion forgot that this is the prison of his brother, Illidan's Storm Rage. And yeah, now it's time for backstory. So, over 10,000 years ago, the Night Elves used to have access to a mystical source of energy called the Well of Eternity. This granted them extended life and arcane magic. The use of arcane magic, however, drew the attention of the Burning Legion, and thus they invaded Azeroth for the first time. Illidan and Furion's Storm Rage, along with Taronda, fought off the invasion by the Legion and were ultimately forced to destroy the Well of Eternity before the vanguard of the Burning Legion could invade and ultimately destroy Azeroth. However, Illidan feared that the Burning Legion would return someday, so he had stolen a portion of the Well's power to try and create a new Well of Eternity for the Night Elves to use if they should ever return. But Furion, taking the moral high ground, insisted that this was wrong, and thus they proceeded to, without trial, imprison Illidan underground for over 10,000 years. To try and conceal the new fount of power that Illidan had created, the Night Elves planted a tree over the site which ultimately grew into the vast world tree that the Night Elves now draw their magical energies from, as well as their extended long lives. That's the short story. If you want more details, go get a lore degree from World of Warcraft University. The discovery of this door basically provokes this conversation. We can use Illidan to fight off the Legion.
No, I am ashamed of my brother who I imprisoned down here without trial. You will not do this, Taronda.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Already rescuing him. So Furion, with part of their allies, go to try and find the remainder of the Druids of the Claw.
Ah, brothers, at last we are reunited. Come and help us fight off the forces of darkness.
Growl! Roar! 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 Quit ruffling my feathers. Tornado, bitches!
Well, great. I guess we're going to have to do this the hard way. And by that, we basically have to make a speed run to the end of the dungeon without being attacked by the bear so that we can use the horde of Cenarius to turn them all back into normal people. Oh god, I hope my wife is having a better time rescuing my crazy evil brother that I imprisoned for no reason.
Alright, sisters, this is a jailbreak, and the first rule of a jailbreak is to not alert the guards. So we're just gonna go about this nice and quietly. Oh god, I hate all of you. Mistress, we found a wolf down here. I have named him Spot. No, he will never replace our beautiful Hydralisk. Do not even insult the memory of him. Quickly, press on to free Illidan! We eventually find Illidan, and 10,000 years of being imprisoned underground haven't done anything to his sanity.
Taronda, have you come to free me or just read some of my angsty poetry?
Actually, I was hoping you would help me fend off the Legion. Are you okay? I think the theme music is new.
If my stupid jerk brother had asked, I would say no. But because it's you, sure, I will help you kill demons.
Hi, honey. Your brother's joined us.
Those stupid antlers make you look ridiculous, brother.
Oh sure, and your bandana just slipped down over your eyes.
Knock it off, the pair of you. Now let's go kill some demons. Why don't you go kill them in Fellwood, Illidan?
Whatever you say.
So Illidan goes to the Fellwoods to slay demons, and it's there that he ends up running into... Haha, remember me? I'm Arthas. I'm back in the story, baby.
Oh, no you're not. There's only room for one person with theme music in this portion of the review. Ha ha ha, we'll see about that. No one's stealing my screen time. I think I'm in love with you. Ha ha ha, right back at you, buddy. Hey, I've got a proposal for you. Wanna hear it? Well, I don't do butt stuff on the first date, but sure. Ha ha ha, well there's this guy, Tichondrius. He sort of replaced me and is now using this arcane relic to destroy your woods. Kill him for me and I'll like you. Well, I've done weirder things on a first date. Alright, I'll go find it and destroy it for you. Ha ha ha. Okay, thanks. Hope we don't end up fighting each other in the sequel. So Illidan and his warriors battle their way past the forces of the undead, the Legion, and the satyrs to find their way to the Skull of Gul'dan. And I'm not going into the backstory of that because that's a whole other kettle of fish. But unfortunately, once he finds it, despite all of his other trials and tribulations, he's still kind of off his rocker, so decides to drain it of its mystical energies and become fully demonized. See, it's a pun, because it works on multiple levels. Now as Super Saiyan Illidan, he goes to kill Tichondrius. And yeah, that goes pretty well for him. Unfortunately, shortly after that, Malfurion and Tyrande arrive.
Foul demon, what have you done with my brother?
Now you decide to care. Thanks, brother. And despite being a force of utter badassness, Illidan goes into self-imposed exile. Sometime later, based on a dream that Furion had, Tyrande and Furion wait in the woods for a meeting. Soon they're joined by Jaina and Thrall, who also had a dream of needing to meet here with some allies. And it's here we find out this was all organized by the Prophet, who in reality was the Wizard Medivh, the one whose spellbook we stole in the Undead campaign to summon in the Legion. You remember when I said that was a plot point? He originally opened the portal that summoned in the orcs and led to 100 years of conflict, and has now allowed for the Legion to return. His hope is by helping the elves, orcs, and humans to work together, that they can potentially undo all of the evil that his actions have caused. Oh, and the whole not being human anymore? Yeah, apparently he got murdered by some of his friends, and now he's like a force ghost or something. So now the Night Elves, Orcs, and Humans are finally all together and have decided to form a grand alliance, and not a moment too soon, as Archimonde arrives with the full might of the Legion. Furion's plan is to try and stall Archimonde long enough to prepare a trap for him at the World Tree, so we have to buy him the time he needs. It's pretty clear Blizzard pulled out all the stops for this level, as you are besieged for over 40 minutes by endless waves of demons, undead, and all other kinds of crazy stuff that they can throw at you. And you have to try and fend them off as best you can with the resources you have at your disposal. I have replayed this level so many times, it is not even funny. But no matter how hard we fight, eventually Archimonde makes it to the summit of the mountain and is about to feast upon the magical energies of the World Tree. All exactly according to Furion's plan. In an ending cutscene, we get a feel for just how big the World Tree really is. But Furion sounds the mighty horn of Cenarius once again to call forth nature's wrath, which apparently manifest as little sparkly lights. But yeah, unfortunately Archimonde is allergic to sparkly lights, so they ultimately are able to destroy Archimonde and the Legion's threat to Azeroth. And we end the game. Huzzah! Alright, let's quickly go over the Night Elf campaign. Furion and Tyrande's relationship is really well written, and the acting between the two voice actors is absolutely on point. Illidan has always been one of my favorite characters, and it's kind of disappointing that Furion, rather than listening to him and acknowledging that he may have some valid points, like that the Legion would return eventually, instead chose to imprison him underground. His transformation into a demon makes complete sense when you consider that he's been trapped underground for over 10,000 years for a crime he didn't commit, and has been demonized by the rest of Night Elf society. The Orcs and Humans' strong alliance from the Orc campaign is important here, since it helps to unify these three disparate groups in their defense of the world. Playstyle-wise, the only other major thing that the Night Elves can do that make them special is their ability to use their food production buildings, called Moonwells, as a way to replenish mana and health for their various units, as well as their buildings being able to uproot and move across the map. They also haunt mines similar to the undead, except they call it entangling and it requires a main town hall structure.
I'll attract the enemy with my human call. I'm so wasted!
All in all, Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos is a really good classic Warcraft game that I think everybody should play if they enjoy RTS games. The characters are well fleshed out, the campaign, though it struggles at times, is generally pretty fun, and even with the most obnoxious campaign, the Undead campaign, there are still levels I enjoy replaying from that. I can't help but feel that this is partially due to grand epics like The Lord of the Rings really taking off and broadening the consciousness of what fantasy epics can be. This definitely feels much bigger than the old school Warcraft games, with whole new lore and factions that were created just for the campaign, and have become integral to the World of Warcraft games that followed. And I'm honestly not sure it would have been as successful as it was if not for Warcraft 3. And if you enjoyed these reviews, stay tuned, because we're going to look at Warcraft 3 The Frozen Throne. And you can watch me play through the human campaign, which is almost as bad as the undead campaign from this game. You know, I wonder if Illidan's old cell is still free. Being trapped for 10,000 years underground can't possibly be as bad as doing that.
Fear my leech skills.